everybody, in this video I'm going to be doing the Elecfreaks Microbit Starter Kit Guide Experiment Number 2 button. I've wired up this breadboard so it matches the diagram that you'll find in your kit. You'll notice in this experiment there is a ground wire here in column number 1 that is attached to that G-pin, and that runs down to this blue rail. That blue rail runs all the way along the side to another wire, which that ground wire runs up to that other blue rail, and then that runs across to share the different grounds that we're going to be using. The same thing at the top here with the 3-volt pin in column number 1. That red wire runs up, it goes all the way across the red rail, then I have a red wire running down here for another red rail for the power at the bottom. This experiment doesn't happen to use that 3-volt rail, but you're going to be using it in other experiments in the kit. The other thing that you'll notice is that I do have a couple of resistors. Those resistors are in column number 17 and column number 22. And I also have a button, and the button's legs are in column number 25 and column number 27. You'll also notice I have 2 LEDs at the top. And if I tilt that over, we can see that the shorter leg of the LED is in column number 16, and the other short leg is in column 21. And the long leg on the LED is in column number 17 and column number 22, which line up with the resistors because that's the positive side of the circuit. You also notice I have 3 wires that are running over to the 2 resistors and also the button. And those wires run from column number 2 to column number 16, column number 17, I should say. And that column number 2, that lines up with pin 0 on your board. On pin number 1, we have it running from column number 3 to column number 22. And on pin number 2 here, we have that in column number 4 running to column number 27. We also have a ground wire up here at the top that runs anywhere from the blue rail to column number 25, then anywhere from the blue rail to column number 21, and anywhere on the blue rail to column number 16 as well. I'm going to go over to MakeCode now, and I'm going to show you how to run this experiment. But if you do the experiment properly, you should be able to press and hold down the button. You'll see the lights cycle back and forth, and when you release, the left light will stay on. All right, let's go over to MakeCode. All right, so I've started a new project in MakeCode. The first thing I'm going to need on the start loop is set pole pin, pin number 2 to up. I can find that under Advanced, and then if I scroll down to pins, we have an option under the More menu to find set pole pin, pin 0 to up. I'm going to drag that over on the start, and then I'm going to switch that over to pin number 2. Then in my forever loop, I'm going to need an if statement. So if statements are logic. I'm going to drag that if statement over. You'll notice in the if statement, there is this kind of hexagon shape. And if you look in your guide, it says read digital or digital read pin 2 is equal to 0. An equal statement is a logic statement here as well. So logic, I'm going to find this equal statement and replace that in here. And notice it still has that hexagon shape. The digital read pin 2, that's under pins. And right up here, digital read pin 0. I'm going to drop that into that space, and I'm going to switch that over to pin number 2. And that's equal to 0, so the rest of that statement is correct. The next thing I'm going to need is a digital write pin 0 to 0 and a digital write pin 1 to 1. So once again, that's under pins. Digital write pin 0 to 0, which is great. And then digital write pin 1 to 1. All right. And mind you, these are digital writes, so the only 2 options here when I click this is either a 0 or a 1. All right, after that, they have a pause for 500 milliseconds. That's under basic. I'm going to scroll down for pause, and let's set that to 500 milliseconds. And now I'm going to need a digital write pin 0 to 1 and a digital write pin 1 to 0. So that's going to alternate my lights that are flashing. All right, so I go in here, digital write pin 0 to a 1. I can use a little slider there. And then same thing here, digital write pin 1 to 0. And then because we want to have that pause there before it starts the loop again, I'm going to go ahead and add another pause here. Scroll down, pause, set that to 500 milliseconds. All right, at that point, I can download that here to my microbit, and I should be able to get that program to run. And you could even modify this program to add another little step after that. So maybe it turns off pin number 1 after the if loop is 0, and that way the lights could turn off at the end. All right, good luck with experiment number 2.